Hello students, I am welcoming you all. Today I am going to start the first unit of the first PUC, that is the living world. As you may heard the word about living since from your primary high school. So what do you mean by living? Living is nothing but the organism which possesses growth, reproduction, metabolism, and ability to sense the environment are the fundamental features of living organism. As you may get the doubt that what is growth? Growth is nothing but as it may be increase in size or increase in mass of an organism or a tissue or its part is called as an growth. Suppose when you are born, suppose take you are about 3 kg. After 21 to 21 years, your weight is same or different? It is different, no? So that is only the growth. Now you may get the doubt that what is reproduction? Reproduction is nothing but a production of a progeny of an organism. It means reproduction. You may ask me why reproduction is important. Reproduction is important for the continuation of life, for the continuation of generation, and to compensate the loss of life due to death. So reproduction plays a major important role in continuation of generation. So another word I have written here, metabolism. As you know, metabolism is the sum of total biochemical reactions that take place inside the body of an organism. Take any one of the reaction that is taking in your body, that is the metabolical reactions. Whichever the reactions that occur in your body are the metabolical reactions. That reactions are combining of biological plus chemical components. So it is generally termed as biochemical reaction. That is generally known as metabolism. Metabolism is of two types. One is catabolical pathway and the other one is anabolical pathway. In your upcoming classes, you are going to learn that types of metabolism. And another one important feature is ability to sense the environment. The ability to sense the environment is also a fundamental feature of a living organism. Then coming to the concept of basic characters of living organism. If you want to identify which one is living, which one is not living, in that manner, if you want to identify which one is living organism, then it should possess the following properties. Organism can be simple or complex. Depending upon the type of body organization, the organism may be simple or complex. Depending upon the morphology, you can identify whether the organism is simple or complex. They may be unicellular or multicellular. The organism that may be unicellular or multicellular means unicellular means the organism which is composed of a single cell is generally called as unicellular. The example for unicellular organisms is amoeba. Amoeba is the best example for unicellular organism. While the organism can be multicellular also. Multicellular is nothing but the organism which is composed of more than one cell, is generally termed as multicellular organism. Constitute several biochemical reactions. The organism which constitute several biochemical reactions is generally termed as metabolism because non-living things doesn't exhibit metabolism. The metabolism is exhibited only in living organism. So the metabolism is fundamental feature of an living organism. Maintain constant internal environment is generally termed as homeostasis. The living organisms always maintain a constant internal environment. So that is generally termed as homeostasis. They doesn't vary environment. They stay in a constant internal environment. So it is generally termed as homeostasis. Produces offspring similar to them. The one of the major characteristic of living organism is it produces the offspring similar to them. As you can compare you and your parents, you will get most of the contrasting characters that you and your parents are having. You compare your parents' skin color as well as your skin color. It is always resembles your parental feature. So that is also a major important feature of living organism. Adapt to environmental changes and gradually undergo evolution. The other most important feature of a living organism is they adapt to environmental changes. They always adjustable to the environmental changes and also gradually undergo evolution. Evolution is nothing but from the birth to death, whichever events that takes place, that is referred to as an evolution. Grow and produces young ones. As you know, all living organisms can grow. That is also a major characteristic of a living organism and also produces the young ones offspring for the continuation of generation. I thought you have clarified about the concept of living organism and basic characteristics of living organism. Starting with the features of living organism. Let's discuss the features of living organism one by one, whether they are going to be the defining properties of living organism or not. So let's start with the growth. All organisms can grow, develop, and reproduce. As you know, all living organisms can grow, develop, and reproduce. Increase in mass or size of tissue or organism. The growth is nothing but increase in mass or overall size of a tissue or organism or its parts is generally called as an growth. Unicellular organisms like amoeba, bacteria grow by cell division. As you know, amoeba and bacteria are unicellular organisms because they are composed of a single cell, so they are unicellular organism. They always grow by cell division. Cell division is nothing but a single parent cell that divides into two identical daughter cells. Both of them grow into a original cell size. As you know, think this is bacteria, parent cell, bacterial parent cell. It divides and give rise to two daughter cells. Two daughter cells. As both of these daughter cells grow into a original cell size, as this is the cell division. cell division. Growth is a complex process involving cell division, cell differentiation. Growth is not a simple process. Growth is a complex process. As you know, growth is complex process. As you can ask me why growth is complex process. Because in order to in order to growth, the organism should possess cell division and cell differentiation. As you already know what is cell division. In cell division, what happens is a single parent cell that divides into two identical daughter cells. Both of them later they develop into a original cell size. And another word is mentioned here, cell differentiation. As you can ask me, what is cell differentiation? Cell differentiation is nothing but the less specialized cell is going to be a more specialized cell. That is generally termed as an cell differentiation. In higher animals, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. In higher animals, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. Without growth, there is no reproduction. And you can ask me which are the higher animals. As you can take the example, best example for the higher animals is human being. Human being is the best example for higher animal in which growth takes place. After the growth, reproduction takes place. So growth and reproduction in higher animals are the mutual exclusive events that takes place. The types of growth, there are namely two types of growths are there. One is extrinsic growth, another one is intrinsic growth. First one is extrinsic growth. Extrinsic growth is nothing but which takes place outside the body of an organism. As you can ask me, extrinsic growth can happen in living organisms also and in non-living organisms also. As you can ask me, in living organism, the growth will happen by increasing size or mass of a tissue or organism. So in living organism, that type growth will happen. You can ask me how in non-living organisms growth can occur. Take example for mountain. On mountain, what will happen? Some of the ice will deposited on the mountain. Snow is deposited on the mountain. Otherwise, some of the sand particles are deposited on the mountain. So in this case, non-living organisms also can show the growth. Due to deposition of snow, ice, or sand particles, it will also show growth. But now we are talking about the living organisms. So in this case, growth doesn't consider to be a defining property of living organism. So another second type of growth is intrinsic growth. Intrinsic growth is nothing but the growth that takes place inside the body of an living organism. The growth that is exhibited in a living organism is generally termed as intrinsic growth. So hence extrinsic growth is not included in living organism. So in this case, growth doesn't considered to be a defining property of living organism. So growth doesn't considered as an defining property of living organism. Okay. Starting with the another concept that is reproduction. So before starting this concept, I would like to clarify you on concept. I have explained you about the cell division, that single parent cell that divides into two identical daughter cells. Both of them grow into a original cell size, but that you need to correct it. The cell division can be mitosis, meiosis. In mitosis, meiosis, there are the prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. So cell division is nothing but the cell division occurs by metaphase, prophase, anaphase, telophase. In our upcoming classes, you are going to learn that. Okay, let's start with the concept reproduction. Reproduction is nothing but it involves the production of progeny. Reproduction is nothing but producing of the offspring which are similar to them. That is the reproduction. You can ask me why reproduction is important. Reproduction it is necessary for the continuation of life. For the continuation of life and for the continuation of generation, reproduction plays a major role. So reproduction is important, and to compensate of life due to death. Reproduction plays a major role in the continuation of generation and to compensate the life due to death. Some of the asexual reproduction methods are, we are going to discuss about the some of the asexual reproduction methods. First one is unicellular prokaryotes, that is bacteria. You may ask me what is unicellular prokaryote. As you know, unicellular is nothing but the organism that is developed from a single cell or that is composed of the single cell is unicellular. Prokaryote, you may get the doubt. What is prokaryote? Prokaryote is nothing but the organism that is not having a proper nucleus. That is prokaryote. The best example for unicellular prokaryote is bacteria. Bacteria is having unicellular prokaryotic organism. So that the bacteria that reproduces through binary fission. Now you can ask me what is binary fission? Binary fission is nothing but the single parent cell. Consider it as a parent cell. It is a bacteria that divides into two identical daughter cells. These both are daughter cells. When single parent cell that divides into two identical daughter cells, both of the daughter cells later they grow into a original cell size. That is binary fission. Now coming to the unicellular eukaryote, that is amoeba. Unicellular is nothing but the organism that is composed of single cell, and eukaryote is this unicellular eukaryote means the organism that is composed of single cell and having a proper nucleus is generally termed as unicellular eukaryotic organism. The best example for unicellular eukaryote organism is amoeba. The amoeba also reproduces through the binary fission. Regeneration. The organism can also reproduce through regeneration. So the best example for regeneration type of reproduction is planaria. Yeast and hydra. Yeast and hydra also reproduces through budding. As you may ask me, what is budding? Budding is nothing but the new organism that is generated from the bud. You can ask me why the bud is generated, how the bud is generated. Bud is generated on the parent organism due to continuous cell division. The continuous cell division that results in the generation of bud on the parent organism. Through that bud, it will give rise to the another organism. So that is nothing but budding. As when we go on comparing with the reproduction, some of the organisms are there, but they cannot reproduce. The living organisms also cannot reproduce. All the living organisms cannot reproduce. The best example is sterile worker bees. Sterile worker bees. Sterile worker bees cannot reproduce. And another example is mule. Mule also cannot reproduce, and infertile human couples also cannot reproduce. So, in this case, reproduction is also not a defining property of living organism. If it is defining property, means all the living organisms should reproduce. But in this case, sterile worker bees, mule, and infertile human couples also not reproduce. They are also living organism. In this case, reproduction is also not a defining property of living organism. Okay, thank you. In upcoming classes, we are going to discuss with other concepts. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.